So the more real we are, the more honest we are, the more happy we are. Because reality and honesty, happiness are the same frequency of openness, truth. We actually long to be so real with each other, so real with ourselves, so real in life, to express ourselves honestly, to feel honestly what we truly feel. To not be guarding and hiding and feeling shame for just being ourselves, not feeling guilt for just being ourselves. So we're so longing to be real, and yet somehow we can be so afraid to be real, so afraid to be ourselves, to be true. And yet the more real we are, the more honest we are, the more happy we are. Like stepping into the truth of what this life is about, stepping into the truth of what we're really here for, what we're wired for, and not being pulled so much by ideas and concepts that are so often competitive and comparative, and that we have ideas about how our life should be and how we should be based on ideas that we've taken on and gathered. They can be so far away from actually who we are in truth and what we're wired for. But the more real we are, the more honest we are with ourselves, the more happy we are, because that's the frequency of love, of openness. So even if we just have an awareness that what we're really longing for is to be real, to be happy, to be true, to be honest. And if we let that be like a compass, and that we're not tangled up in these concepts of what awakening is, what enlightenment is, and most often in a complete misunderstanding about what this whole unfolding is. And we actually let being real, like reality, being real, to be ourself, to be the one self. And then we get this opportunity to recognize, well, when am I not being myself? When am I not being true, or real, or honest? When am I protecting myself or another? When am I not actually aligning my kind of inner atmosphere and feeling sense with my word and my deed, right? Because as soon as we're not aligned all the way through, we're going to feel that misalignment in the life, and we're going to be resonating at a misaligned frequency. And when we're resonating at a misaligned frequency, we're going to be creating something that will reflect to us that misalignment, right? So in a way, as we align with presence, the field of presence, just being here with God and glory, with the frequency of openness, when we actually align with that deep feeling sense within us of what we're longing for, whatever words that we might put to it, whether it's I long to be happy, I long for love unconditional, I long for truth, for honesty, for freedom, I long to know God, I long to just be simple. joyous, delighted, to live in awe, to know the truth. Like when we actually just get really honest with what we actually long for in life, we have more of a chance of aligning with that frequency that is already here, because our longing is born out of what we already know. It's just that we imagine that it's not already here when it is. But if we allow our longing to be like a compass that we keep coming back to, because when we come to the felt sense of our longing, we're really opening to a field that already knows what is true, and the longing is one with the fulfillment of the longing. The longing is a directionless longing, like we think I'm longing for that. But actually, when we enter the feeling sense of the longing, we can't really tell whether I'm longing for that or that is longing for me, because in the longing is the fulfillment. It's like the longing itself is the sense of the open heart. And that's the the tricky thing in this unfolding, is that we imagine that we're longing for something and that we're going to get it, but there isn't something to get. We already are it. So the longing isn't about getting what we think we want. It's about realizing that we already are. And that realization comes in the frequency of the longing, when we're willing to be open and honest and actually not be looking for a goal or an end gain, but just to be in the longing. Because in the frequency of the longing, the frequency of just what the heart is longing for. And that's why, in a way, the heart sankalpa is such a potent thing to tune into, because the true heart sankalpa is what the heart already knows. It's attuning to the longing. It's attuning to what the heart already knows. And when we attune to what the heart already knows, we start to call forward the capacity to realize that what we're longing for is here. And in a way, it's the same in life with anything and everything. Instead of feeling like what I want is that thing, that person, that job, that relationship, that house, when we actually open to the feeling sense of that, not as a sense of I want that, but just that feeling sense of a longing, we feel what it feels like to be fulfilled in that. Let's use the example of like the most amazing aligned relationship, whether it's a romantic relationship or a, a, a friendship, companionship, or family. If there's a sense of, I want that relationship to feel like this, instead of the mental, I want this and I want that, and here's my list of tick boxes, just how do you feel, right, in the longing? Because in the longing, we also meet the fulfillment. It's like in the longing, we know what it feels like to touch that, to meet that, to know that. And as we touch that as a frequency, it's like we're calling it forth because it's already here. So it's like that with God. When we open to our longing for God, again, that longing becomes directionless and we can't tell, am I longing for God? Is God longing for me? Do I love God? Or does God love me? Because when we really open to that, it's omnipresent. We don't know who, what, where, when. We just know the felt sense. And it's not about landing somewhere or achieving something. It's about opening to this field of presence where we get more habituated with being with the feeling of fulfillment in every way. How does it feel to be fulfilled in your relationship? How does it feel to be fulfilled in your life? How does it feel to be living in the perfect home? How does it feel to be abundant? How does it feel to be joyous for no reason? Right? When we actually open to feel, instead of longing through the mind and wanting through the mind and being in that frequency of lack of what I don't have, we open to the frequency field of what is here. We open to the frequency field of grace and abundance. We open to the field of infinite possibility. And as we open to the field of infinite possibility, we enter that field of grace. And when we enter the field of grace, we're in a flow, a natural flow of intelligence. So if we're longing to be real, to open to reality, let us be real. Let us be real with ourselves. What is happening now? Right? That we can be really honest, can sit down and have a really honest chat. Sit on that bench somewhere beautiful with yourself and really discover, how are you? Like what's going on right now? What's happening right now in this moment? And you can share with yourself what your observations are, so that there's an honesty. It's not about pleasantries or pretenses. It's not about needing to show up or prove yourself. It's about being really honest. Because when we're really honest, we realize that the open field has enough glorious space for everything that's here and all of the ways that we're feeling. That love can be here, and stress can be here, and pain can be here, and a certain joy can be here, right? That everything can be here, and it doesn't need to be confusing, because we're not trying to steer towards what we think we should feel or conceptual ideas about how we should feel. We're just opening to feel the way that we feel. As we feel the way that we feel, we discover that by being in the open, honest field of our own self, that the love, the happiness, the reality that we're seeking for is right in the center of what we tend to want to avoid. That everything that is seeming to be challenging in the life is love in disguise. And it's in this openness to receive the invitation of life, to meet life, receive life. Because through receiving life, we receive our own self. We receive all of the seeming disparate parts of ourself and reconcile them in the heart. Everything that is happening in life is somehow attempting to bring that reconciliation of the heart and bring us to the realization that there is only love, can sometimes seem like a tall order when life feels stressful. And when we hear that, the only way out is through, right through the center, march right through the center, lean right into the play to discover that love is hiding as the soft center in the middle of everything. We tend to be shrouded in shame, shrouded in guilt, ideas of what is wrong with us, what we've done wrong, how we've been wronged. Whatever our languaging is around that, being bad, not being good enough, being unlovable, unworthy. But ultimately, it's a sense that something is wrong with me. And that is the core shame that keeps us in division, keeps us divided from the fullness of our very own self, keeps us divided from reality. And so what if the bridge is to recognize, where are we holding shame? Mm. We don't have to go digging around. These places have an incredible wisdom to them, and they present themselves. But if we have an awareness and a readiness that if we notice feelings of shame or guilt or making ourselves wrong or making life wrong or others wrong, that is a sign, a marker, that's an opportunity that there's something here to transmute. And so instead of trying to veer away from that shame or guilt or doubt and letting the division of our life be perpetuated, that we come to recognize the marker of where we might be hiding, and we then open to the possibility of these pockets of shame and guilt and doubt to be able to come forward into the light. Because the thing about shame and guilt is that it's unconscious and it's hiding, and it kind of wants to stay that way because it thinks there's something wrong with me, and it doesn't really want that to be revealed. That kind of shame and guilt can come forward in ways where we create identities to cover it up. We create identities to cover it up. We create identities of competency and efficiency and trying to prove ourselves. We create identities and roles in this job, this thing that I do well, we create ways of trying to hide. These places, what do they want? What does shame want? Does it want to stay ashamed and hiding? Right. Just to inquire within yourself, what does shame want? And in some way or form, what will likely come forward is it wants love, it wants freedom, it wants to be held, it wants to belong, it wants to feel safe, right? And so in this unfolding, if we perpetuate pushing down and pushing away, then we keep that shame and guilt right where it thinks it should be, right? It becomes like a sort of self-fulfilling prophecy that shame thinks it should be ashamed, and it definitely shouldn't be revealed. But there's something so magical to revealing where we are holding shame. It can be so deeply, deeply unconscious. And in a way, just by speaking about it, we're stirring the field. Only what is ready to come forward will come forward, but even just to notice, wow, where might I be holding shame? Just to open to that possibility of revealing in a way that doesn't make it wrong, that says shame is welcome here. In every flavor and variety, we welcome shame. We welcome every flavor and variety. All of the ways that we have unique and subtle flavors of shaming ourselves, guilting ourselves, making ourselves wrong, deciding that our behaviors are bad, punishing ourselves, right? And yet, can we see here now that if we perpetuate that punishment and shaming, that we are not allowing those places to be fully called forward by love. Love is calling them forward, right? Love is calling all shame and guilt, calling all doubt, calling all unworthiness and unlovableness, calling every single fiber of you that you want to hide and push away. Love is calling it all out. It's not calling it all out in a big scary way that's going to make a mess. It's calling it all out to bring love and holding to all of the fibers of our being, where we stop feeling ashamed of how we feel. We stop being ashamed that we sometimes get angry. We stop being ashamed that we feel hurt and upset. We're not trying to hold some kind of spiritual conceptual idea of always being accepting and grateful for everything that's not actually real, right? Glorious if it's real, glorious, absolutely. If it's real, the frequency is a transmission of celebration. But let us be really clear if that's honest, right? That kind of, let's brush over with that. Let's brush it over with, well, I'm just grateful for it all. It's all a play and I'm just grateful for it and just, it's all okay. It's like, wait, if inside you're going, this is not okay. This is not okay. No, I'm just accepting it all and just flowing with life, and it's all the grace, it's all grace. And inside you're like, no, I'm angry. This is not okay, right? The invitation is to listen to this voice inside and say, yes, you're allowed to feel like this because we've been so habituated to be shamed for how we feel. Right from our young lives, and then we can probably all identify different times through the whole life where we've been subtly shamed, where we've, lost a job because you got angry, lost friends because you had a little outburst, right? Yeah, you don't belong here. No, that's not okay, right? Suddenly you're not being invited to things because you're a bit depressed, and nobody wants to invite the depressed person to come to the party because that's not going to be any fun. Someone's just going to end up sitting in the corner counseling them, right? It's these ways that through our lives that we've been in these patterns of being shamed and not feeling like showing up as how we are and feeling what we feel and being honest is actually welcome. We fear being punished for how we feel. We fear losing the connection to love. We fear for our survival, right? And so many of us will have lived through certain situations where it did seem like we lost companionship, relationships, jobs, all kinds of situations, right? And this is the invitation to be real. That when we start to be real, when we really, really start to show up for ourselves, and even just to explore, what does that even mean? And what it really means to start with is to be able to be present with yourself and to really be honest. How do you really feel right now? And to be able to recognize and allow that honest expression within yourself allows an ability to witness yourself and hold yourself, to see yourself, and to see that part of you, not through the eyes of judgment and self-hatred and shaming, like perpetuating that shaming. Oh, why are you feeling like that? Why are you triggered? Why are you angry? Why can't you just like be different? Right? That reconciliation has to happen inside our own heart. That we're allowed to feel what we feel. And actually it's not like this surface spiritual kind of, oh, I'm allowing it all. It's like, are you actually allowing yourself in your own heart to feel what you're feeling? Because it's when we really allow ourselves to feel what we're feeling and be present with ourselves, this is how we discover everything is love. Somebody was asking me, how have you moved through some really challenging situations? How do you know? How do you know that was all love? And how I know it's all love is because I stopped pretending that it was all okay. And I started being deeply honest with myself about how I really feel and what's really going on. And through meeting those feelings and allowing those feelings, the discovery that inside everything, as we crack the codes of division and shame and guilt, we discover that right in the center is softness, is love. And we discover within our own capacity to be with that we don't get punished, and that actually we feel softer. We start to be able to embody love and to truly love and to truly look upon every situation, circumstance, and character of our life with the most immense love. Because we're not identifying at the level of the play and the circumstance, but we're using the fuel of life to carry us into our own hearts. As we enter our own hearts more deeply, we have this capacity to look upon every being with the same love. Have you heard that saying? You can only love as deeply as you love yourself, right? This is what we're speaking of. So we could say, in a way, it's about self-love, self-compassion, this ability to be, this one, I love you. I'm here for you. I've got you, right? And that doesn't mean that we don't also need love and care and holding from our companions and the loves around us. but this capacity to be able to meet ourselves and hold ourselves. In a way, it's a very deep realization, because it brings us to a power to not be swept in the flow of self-criticism and self-hatred. And that everything that happens in life, whether it's that we, went to have a coffee with someone and we came away and thought, wow, why was I talking so much? Why was I so chatty? Did I even ask how they were? Whether it's that kind of like just noticing your own behavior, or whether it's judging the things that you do, the things that you eat, the way that you are, just that like negative self-talk, just being mean, right? We have this amazing capacity to be very mean to ourselves, to be very hard on our bodies, critical. I should be different, right? I should be different. But we're not. We're exactly the way that we are to be. We're wired this way. We're made this way. We are perfect in the image of God. We are children of God. And this is what we're here to discover. And when we can hold ourselves, like in this honesty, this realness, coupled with this sense of opening to this longing, it's like we have the keys to the kingdom, right? Find the kingdom within yourself, right? Be yourself. Being yourself isn't about, what you wear and what you do in life. Being yourself is about this deep inner relaxation that lets go of the grip of shame and guilt, that lets go of the grip of trying to hold yourself in a posture where you think you will be loved and accepted, and actually exhaling through that grip, that linchpin, to love and accept yourself as you are, and let your life start flowering, right? This is where the love is. This is where the magic is as we let go of that grip of constantly kind of being, it's like we're the grip is here and we're kind of just above the grip, constantly feet, because the grip is here. The grip of the shame, the grip of what I don't want anyone to know, right? Don't find that out. We're living in this kind of tension, like a constant kind of anxiety, background anxiety of trying to kind of hold it, trying to kind of hold it together with this background anxiety that can just get bigger and bigger and bigger and louder and louder and louder. Because we don't know how to let go of that grip, that intense gripping. We don't have to know how in the ways that the mind thinks we need to know how. But when we just recognize in the way that we're speaking, how do I really feel? Can I be with myself with all that I'm feeling? And to know that also there's much that is unconscious that we can't know. But the more that we're present and willing, it's like we call forward the unconscious. We call forward the unconscious by being open and just willing to meet what is keeping us bound in love. And it's like once in a way, once our system starts to register, oh, I can feel how I feel and I'm held. It's like the next moth comes forward towards the light, right? Oh, I can feel how I feel and be held. Oh, right? And these unconscious threads that are holding us in this grip start to release themselves into the care and holding of love divine, love unconditional, love pure and spotless. When we're willing to notice where we make ourselves wrong and judge ourselves, if we're able to notice, oh, there's the shame, there's the guilt, and instead of perpetuating the story that keeps the shame and the self-judgment and criticism alive, that we actually hold that, be present with it, we illuminate it. Nothing really needs to happen, we just see it. And we just allow whatever wants to well up to well up. And we allow and we hold ourselves. And if something big wells up that we feel we need holding for, we ask someone to hold us. If we can set our compass to be real, to be honest, joyful, happy, in love, in the truest way. And even if we want to use the words to know God, to awaken, freedom, wholeness, whatever it is. If we set our compass and we open to that longing, that feeling, we open to how we already know it. And that field is a field of presence. It's a field of being. It's a field that's very alive and potent as a transmission field. And the transmission is the flow of frequencies of light. It's a field of consciousness, experiencing itself to know itself, seeing itself, refining and recalibrating itself, upgrading itself constantly. This is what we are made of. This is what our nervous systems are. So in a way, we come to a way of being able to regulate ourselves in presence, in holding, instead of cycling in the story, in the shame and the guilt. We illuminate what we're seeing and how we're feeling, and we open to receive ourselves, right? The frequency of love is the power that transmutes everything. The frequency of love and openness is love that is without condition. It's love that just loves. We might feel like, well, I don't feel like I am accessing a love that is unconditional yet. That's okay, because the knowing of it might not be present, but the love is unconditional. And we enter that field of love through presence, through being here, through opening to the field of presence, through being here now, the field of silent presence. Life can be a crazy show, and there can be karmic obscurations that are moving the chess pieces in the game of life. And we've been habituated to think that we can play the game from a place of limitation. And in that if we could only move this way or this that way, or if we could change this or change that or be different or this or that, or if I could only have that. But we're not here to control the game. We're not here to win the game. We're here to hand over the reins to the intelligence, to God and glory. We're here to hand over and be moved, and to discover that every move that is made is somehow divine. And yes, there's a dimension of recognition of the perfection of everything. And there's a dimension where it all feels very, very messy. Right? And that's all part of it. It's a multi-dimensional lived experience. And we're not to deny any of it. Because it's the whole embodied experience, the whole engagement that brings us to freedom, that we have the capacity to open to the field and to recognize the presence that is always peaceful and still. And we have, and to know the love that is never touched, that we have this capacity in various ways, depending on how deeply we've opened to know that. But we have a certain capacity to touch the undisturbable peace and openness of being. And yet, the thing that can puzzle us is, well, how do I live that? And what about the crazy show that's happening on the surface of life right now? Right? Both, maybe we could say, in the micro and the macro. But of course, the micro and the macro are one, and just a reflection. But it's as we attend to the micro within our own inner realms that we affect the macro. And so life and everything that is present for us is the fuel for freedom. It is that which we are being given to meet in a reflection that offers us the possibility of reconciling these pieces that seem to be disparate within ourselves. And as we reconcile these pieces within ourselves, the reconciliation in our own heart and the recognition of love that is inherent in everything starts to be the reverberant frequency of our lived experience that is in service to the whole, to the macro, right? So living our life is our greatest offering. Living our life as real and true, as honest as we can be, is our greatest offering. That the frequency, resonant transmission of our lived experience is what we are offering. And that's when it doesn't matter what our dharma or job or what it is that we're up to, because wherever we are, it's the transmission of our lived experience, the depth that we have opened to, the depth that we have opened to love, the depth that we have opened to light, and then how we are embodying that in our lived experience is our offering. Mm. If we get capsized by the crazy show, we miss the opportunity, right? And of course, yes, we are going to be, and we have been, and it's not to make that wrong. It's to know that every moment of making ourselves wrong or bad, lacking, is missing an opportunity for reconciliation in the heart. Can we use this, this precious life for the deepest meaning, deepest, most meaningful exploration of our own inner landscape and our own hearts, and bring all of the pieces of ourself back together in our lived experience? It's not a mistake that we feel to have wounding and brokenness. It's all part of the graced unfolding of the human experience. But we're wired to not perpetuate that. We're wired to be able to hold ourselves and to transmute and transform, and for our consciousness to be upgraded. If we focus upon reality, being real, being honest, being happy, being joyful, living in awe, opening to love, if that's our focus, when we open to the unique frequency of our own longing of the heart, and as we open to that, we open to the heart sankalpa, what the heart already knows. Sometimes sankalpa is translated as like an intention, but opening to the sankalpa is opening to that heart's longing. What do you long for? And it might seem like it comes forward like an intention, and then in the letting it come forward, it's like life can be, we could say, intentional. And a life that is intentional is that we're living aligned with this sankalpa, and we can have a sense of like an overarching sankalpa, heart sankalpa, and we can also have sankalpas that arise every day in the heart that are associated with it could be the same as the primary, or it could be kind of like a baby step. It could be a little thing. But if we are intentional, it's almost like being prayerful. It's allowing that what the heart already knows to come forward, and to allow that to be a frequency that's guiding us. The heart can, sankalpa might say, I long to be the clearest and most profound expression of love that is possible in this lifetime. Then the prayer might be to align with the frequency of the field of the being, and to open, great glory, I long to be the greatest expression, the clearest, purest expression of your love. I walk in your love. I feel your love, right? We just open. And so in a way it's intentional, not from the mind, but from the heart. If there's something arising in the life that feels confusing, it might bring a sankalpa of, let me see what I'm not able to. Let me have the courage to feel what I'm not able to feel right now. Let me feel your love. Let me know you. Let your grace hold me while I face my fears, right? You just allow the sankalpa of the heart to come forward. And then this sense of being intentional is not asking for anything, but in a way, inviting a deeper communion with God and glory and the frequency of perfect spotless love. And in a way, it might just be resting in silence. It might just be making a declaration of love. It might just be expressing what you do know of love. But as we open to allow this kind of intentional flow, a longing just to be real, a longing to be more honest with myself, a longing to be able to meet myself more deeply, and not from a frequency that's making myself wrong, but just this frequency that's loving and nurturing and willing and courageous. It's a frequency that already knows a greater fullness. It's like the promise that's embedded in spring is the warmth of the summer, right? It's like that. It's like opening to the promise of what you already know. We know in spring that as things are starting to bud and come alive, that there's a promise that there'll be warm sunshine and long days, right? And it's the same as we open to that longing and that sankalpa, we're receiving like a promise that we already know the sunshine of our eternal hearts. We already know the love that we are. We're following that promise like an inevitability. Mm. So just resting here and just noticing what is being noticed in this sharing. Just dropping into what's happening now in your landscape. What is alive, what is coming forward, what is being noticed, what is stirred. And to let that multidimensional landscape be all welcomed here. And to welcome even what maybe doesn't feel welcome in your experience. Just to illuminate it, to see it. Mm-hmm. That the way to know that there is only love is to love every part of yourself. And so that the love can be revealed in everything. To love every part of yourself. To recognize that habit to be in the shame and guilt and doubt, self-judgment, self-hatred, criticism. It's like we don't change through criticism. We don't change through being hard on ourselves. We don't even change by making a list of what we want to change and fix about ourselves. Change happens as a transformation in the company of love. Change happens at the frequency level, a recalibration and upgrade of discordant frequencies in the consciousness in the presence of love. Mm-hmm. As these words are coming, just noticing where you feel a resonance, where you feel a truth, where your own wisdom is online, the intelligence that you are recognizes and can feel a resonance of a certain knowing. Let that resonance carry you deeper into yourself. Let that resonance be the illumined transmission that brings brightness and brilliance to anything that's ready to surface. Allowing the feeling, sensing field to be truly welcomed and allowed. It's amazing how much we have been learning to feel, right? And it's amazing how much we still don't feel. And it's through feeling and being and meeting ourselves and using the little markers of where we feel resistance and judgment within ourselves and this shame and making ourselves wrong. These are the markers. This is where the unconscious is attempting to come forward into the light of consciousness. And in a way, we are vehicles for this, bringing the unconscious into the light, the transmutation, and then the recalibration of our nervous systems and the consciousness which recalibrates into the whole field. So again, just what's happening now. Let us just rest here and just allow a resting, an awake awareness, a light shining upon your field. Almost like taking an aware inventory, just taking a look around as awareness. Noticing what you're feeling in the body, noticing what's happening in the mindscape. Notice how you're feeling in the field of presence and being. Just notice what's here to be noticed. Just seeing it all as awareness. Just noticing if the heart sankalpa is present here for you. And maybe it is right now, maybe it's not. No need to force anything, but just to notice if the heart sankalpa is present. Or if you can just feel a longing, just be with the wide open field of feeling, sensing, where the longing is, the fulfillment is. What we are longing for is closer than the breath. It couldn't be closer. The fullness of yourself could not be closer. Seeking here, there, and everywhere. By just opening to this moment and receiving yourself. Receiving the beauty of yourself. receiving the still, silent presence of yourself, the grace and glory of yourself, the wide open field of silent presence. Mhm. Can you feel a sense of how the field is so loving, so here, that there are blessings flowing and showering? There is support and guidance here. It's the field of the fullness of your consciousness. It's accessing the as yet dormant parts of yourself. To access the grace and the guidance and support is to access a fuller, wider, broader capacity of yourself. To say yes to the upgrades, yes to the capacity to know yourself, to deepen, to widen. Mm. Mm. To receive the transmission of the field is to receive yourself, to receive the finer frequencies and recalibrations of your own consciousness into your nervous system, and to allow the upgrades to be spreading multidimensionally. Mm. Just to feel yourself here, open to the presence field. Join in the presence of God and glory. Just being with yourself here, wherever you are, whatever's happening. Just resting here. Feel the field of our joining, how it amplifies and enlivens the knowing of your heart, the knowing in the innermost being of itself, amplified in the silence. What are you longing for? just to open to that frequency of longing, just what is alive in the heart. Open to the field of grace, be carried. Resting here in the frequency of openness, we discover that happiness is here, joy is here, awe is here, wonder is here. You might even notice that it doesn't even matter if there's a side story on the surface of life, that you can still access the joy and happiness that's never touched by anything. Even if there's a story line going on, you can open to the untouched freedom that is the field of being. And this is where the magic can happen, because you can then look upon as the light, look upon whatever that storyline is and just bathe it, soak it in the frequencies of love, include it, receive it, welcome it all, bless it all. Bless anybody that's being held outside of your heart or in discordance. Bless anything that is arising. Bless yourself, the shame, the guilt. As you look upon anything that's discordant in the field, just bringing blessings of light, bringing the presence of love. Just through presence, you bring the presence of love, and the intelligence takes care of the transmutation. Receiving the frequencies of love, of light, of deep divine holding. And we discover that only love is real, only the presence is real. And if we're longing to be real, we are longing for honesty, openness. We discover that it's all here. When we just be here, there's no state or special spiritual way that you need to be, just to be here as yourself, fully here with all that you are. Just to be here, to relax, to exhale, to allow that grip, that deep grip of shame and guilt to be just held here in love. Take a deep exhale, relaxation, and just allowing the whole system and field to be flooded, saturated with frequencies of light, of pure consciousness, refining and recalibrating, and bringing upliftment and love. Bringing a sense of wider support as you open to the greater capacities of your own ability to hold. Mm. To see yourself in the light of your own reflection, the light of awareness, seeing itself in the still, clear pool of consciousness. Mm. 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 Just resting here in the depths of your own heart's knowing, just simply being yourself, just as you are, not pushing any part of you away, including all of you, and just being here. Taking a deep rest from trying and posturing and protecting and holding yourself in any certain stance. Just letting the fullness of yourself just be here. To feel yourself here. Feel the simple joy of just being here. Mm. Feel the relaxation into honesty, openness, unguarded, unprotected, not hiding, just here, just as you are. Mm. How glorious you are.